And today we are going to be installing this Rubbermaid unit on this mount here. This is to be able to use an 8200 or a 6000 all-in-one to be used as an all-in-one device as a wall-mounted unit. So to be able to begin this project, you need to have the proper tools. Now what we have on the table here is the proper tools that we use throughout this project. So over here we need Velcro, scissors, and here are cut Velcro strips for the power supply. Here are the bits that we need. So we have a number 5 bit. This can also be a number 5 locking bit, a number 4, a 2.5, and a Phillips screwdriver bit. You'll also need a 1/2-inch socket, and then your power tools, whether or not you want to use a regular screwdriver or a power screwdriver. Also, you'll see that I have an attachment on this screwdriver. It's an extension. You will need an extension. Okay, so the very first step on this HP 6000 is to be able to pull off this back plate. To be able to pull off this back plate to get to the screws. The next step is to remove, once you have the back plate off, to remove the screws. The way the base pulls off of the HP 6000 is that you push up first, twist, and pull out. After that, you make sure that the back chits are pulled off. Then you put the back plate back on, like so. The last step is to mount the unit on the back, lining up the holes and putting on the screws. And then you tighten them down. So the very first step is going to be putting this on here. So the easiest way to do this, if you have the ability, mind any obstructions whatsoever, is to be able to slide it from the bottom first, all the way up, over, and through. It should rest on this. Okay, so to be able to screw this onto the wall, you need a number 5 metric bit. So these screws that are attached to the arm itself, these screws, are going to be going on the actual unit itself. Okay, the easiest way to put this on is to align the bottom up and then the top. Slide down and it locks into place. next step is to slide this by pushing this in, slide it all the way down, and it exposes open holes for you that you just pulled out in the holes. Adjust it back up. Use the two other screws on the bottom holes. Alright, so the next step is to adjust this black item, it's the bracket that holds the all-in-one, down one hole. To be able to do this, you have to have a number 4 metric bit to be able to pull off the screws. Okay, the next step would be mounting the mouse holder to the back of the all-in-one unit. You want to put it on the very top hole. The first step is to put the screw on first, but only a very small distance in. Then you want to pull off the black plastic . Okay, using the number 5 locking bit, you can tell it's a locking bit by there's a hole in the center. You pull the back plate off of the mounting bracket. A really quick tip is to make sure that the screw is still on because you need to lock it afterwards. Then mount it on the device. The final step for this part is by using an extension with the number 5 bit. You go down in the back and you screw the screw in. Can you see that? Okay, so the next part is to tighten down the swivel bit. It's a little nut. It actually takes a 1/2 inch socket, and what you need to do is make sure that it's at the correct position that you want. You want it there. Put it on. Tight. You want to put the keyboard in. Make sure that all the cords are nice and neat, and plug the USB adapter in. Using a tool of your choice, you want to be able to pull this side plastic piece off to be able to put wires for hiding in the unit itself. I am using my scissors at this time. Okay, so you want to make sure when installing the devices that the computer is set at its max, so you have the furthest to go with your cord. So for here we are installing the mouse, and we're going to run it down the right channel, crossing over the bracket, through the hole, and there is a bottom hole down at the bottom here, and wrap it over. This allows for the longest length. Alright, to be able to put the plastic piece back on, once you have had the wires put in, any type of wires, whether you have a scanner or a mouse, to be able to put this back on, you need to use either a mallet or the backhand of your hand itself. Using a little bit of force, you just snap it back in place. Okay, so the next step is for the keyboard USB extension. Pull this out, plug it in, but make sure that the wires are nice and neat on the inside, because we are going to be putting a network cord and a power supply all in here. Okay, the next step is to be able to put the power brick on the back of the all-in-one. To be able to do this, we have been using Velcro. So the way I do it is I cut out 2 pieces of strips of Velcro, and on the side that does not have the lettering, you mount the Velcro on here. Okay, after you've cleaned the back with alcohol and let it dry, you go ahead and place the brick with the Velcro on the back. I recommend having it at the cord that plugs into the back of the machine facing the top, and I'll explain in a minute. You also would like to have the brick up as far as possible. And the reason why I do this is so that way when the mechanism itself goes all the way up and all the way down, you have as much play with the wire and nothing gets cut off. The next, are you still? Okay. The next step is wire management. As you're feeding the wire through, make sure it's nice and taut. You feed it all the way down. And feed it all the way back up. As you see, there's just exactly enough room for it to come out and plug into the back of the machine. Depending on where the plug is on the wall is how much of the length of a network cord you use. So here I am using a 6-foot cable because my plug is at the bottom. The final step is the back cover for the arm. The final step is to install the all-in-one and all of its software based on the department or ministry that it is working in. And there you have it. We have installed the all-in-one on a Rubbermaid unit.